Hi, this is Ariana with the University of Cincinnati Clermont College. Today we're going to talk about exponents and square roots. Well, let's write out some examples and start identifying the different parts. So we have 4 raised to the third power. Let's look at what the 4 is. So the 4 is going to be our base. And then the 3 is what our exponent is. But what actually is an exponent? So an exponent is how many times you can multiply a number. It's a way to simplify numbers and make them smaller. So when we look at this, we know we have our base and we're going to raise it to the third power. Well, let's rewrite that so we can simplify our expression. So we have 4 times 4 times 4. So that's 4 to the third power. So how we solve this is we take 4 times 4 gives us 16, and then we're going to multiply that 16 by 4, which gives us 64. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at 2 raised to the 5th power. So again, 2 is our base. 5 is our exponent. So we write that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So let's count, make sure that we have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we multiply. 2 times 2, which is 4. Then we times by 2 again, which gives us 8. By 2 again, gives us 16. Okay, one more time by 2 for 32. Okay, so let's take a look at what a square root is and some perfect squares. So let's look back at our exponents. Let's take 3 for example. So 3 squared equals 9 because it's 3 times 3. So we call that a perfect square. And a perfect square is a number that is a square of a whole number. It might be helpful to have a list of the first 12 or so perfect squares so that they're easily recognizable when you're working with some larger equations. So if we have, let's say, the square root of 36. So we have radical 36, which is also 6 times 6, which is 6 squared, which simplifies to 6. So the square root of 36 is 6. Okay, let's look at another number. So what number can be multiplied by itself so that it's squared to give us 64? Well, let's look at that. So we have 64, which is 8 times 8, which is considered 8 squared. So the square root of 64 is 8. So what happens if you see 0 inside of a square root? Well, that's just going to be 0. So what happens if we see 1 inside of a square root? Well, let's think about that. 1 times 1, 1 squared still equals 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 1 equals 1. So that is a fun little exception. So I encourage you to make a list or memorize the first 12 or so squares so you can recognize those easily. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next one.